G'day everyone, hopefully you're doing well. Excited about today's topic. So, the Neon Tetra, discovered back in 1934, they are from the Amazon. They are great, non-aggressive community fish. They spend majority of the time in the midwater, which is good. First thing is their really sensational colors. They have obviously a neon blue line and they have a red line that goes halfway on the underside of their body. So they're really striking coloration. They're actually the first fish that got me into the hobby, interestingly enough. And the blue is a bright iridescent color, but they can turn it off if they feel threatened. They can also turn off the red hue if they feel threatened. For these guys, the water temp should be between 72 to 76 Fahrenheit, 22 to 24 Celsius, pH below 7, above 6, just that sort of soft water. And as with a lot of the things on the list, I think pretty much all of them, you want to keep them in groups, above 6, 10 ideally, but it will depend on your tank size and so on and so forth. Scientific name, Paracharodon inesi. Adult size is 4 centimeters or 1.5 inches. They can live up to 5 years long, and they're a really striking fish. Now, why would this stream be all about finding alternatives to the Neon Tetra? Well, whilst they are peaceful, cheap, colorful, adaptable, and a great accent to a planter tank, they are also really disease prone, susceptible to fin rot, cottonmouth ick, and Neon Tetra disease. Also, there is a disease known as false Neon Tetra disease, and unfortunately both of these are fatal and there's no cure. The disease is named such because it was first found in Neon Tetras. However, it can also happen to other tetras and completely separate breeds. Once it's a parasite and once it reaches the intestinal tract, it will eat the muscles from the inside out. So you'll notice a loss of color, irregular swimming pattern, cysts, and stomach shrinking. And unfortunately, if you get true Neon Tetra disease, which make sure you diagnose it properly beforehand, but it's generally recommended that all of the fish in the tank have to go. And a lot of this disease susceptibility comes about because they are so cheap and readily available. They're bought and sold in such large volumes that, in my opinion, they're considered more of like a commodity rather than, a true wet pet. For those reasons, I think it's a good idea to consider some alternatives, and I've got a heap of them here today. Let's rip straight into the alternatives. Basically, what we're looking for is we're looking for like smallish fish that you can put in communities. They're not going to be aggressive and they're going to have plenty of color and activity. So the first one on the list that I've just selected is the Glow Light Tetra. Now, they're called Glow Light Tetras, Glow Lights, Fire Neon Tetras, and the scientific name is Hemigrammus erythrozonus. These guys live for 5 years approximately and can get up to 4 centimeters long, 1.5 inches. They're slow moving and they're not aggressive towards slow moving or long finned fish, so they're perfectly safe. Temperature wise, you want to keep them between 24 to 28 Celsius, 74 to 82 Fahrenheit, and a pH pretty wide range between sort of 6 and 7.5. That'll be fine. They don't have the iridescent blue color or the red, but they do have a nice iridescent orange color all the way along the body, so they can be a decent alternative to the Neon Tetra if you're potentially looking for a different color but still striking luminescent. Structure wise, I've put a number of alternative tetras first, and then we've got some non-tetra options at the end. So I don't know why I did it that way, I just did. Keeping on moving, so we want to set a decent pace tonight. We've got I think about 20 or so. So the next one, Black Neon Tetras. These have the common name Black Tetra, Neon Tetra. Although, how does that work? Because they can't both be Neon Tetra. Anyway, common names Black Tetra and Black Neon Tetra. Scientific name Hyphosobrychoron Herbert axelrodi. And these guys get 1.5 inches which is about 4 centimeters, and have a life expectancy once again of 5 years. I kind of imagine them as neon tetras if they're like at a formal event or a wedding and they had to wear a tuxedo. They've got a black coloration on the underside of their body and then a white neon stripe along above the black stripe. These guys are considerably a lot more hardy than the classic Neon Tetra. pH-wise, 5.5 to 7.5 will be fine. Temperature-wise, 23 to 27 Celsius, 73 to 81 Fahrenheit will be totally fine. So, yeah, they're a great option. They're in that same sort of size ballpark. Same, they're also a shoaling fish, and they're very peaceful as well. So if you're looking for maybe a more hardy starter fish, I think they're a classy looking fish. They kind of go to show that it's not all about the neon colors and the pizzazz. They're just a good, hard, honest fish, I reckon, and they'll do you well. Yeah. So the next one is the Cardinal Tetra, Parachirodon axelrodi. Cardinal tetras, large neon tetras, red neon tetras, or rotor neon tetras are some common names for these guys. They do get a little bit larger, the 2-inch mark, 5 centimeters, and they have significantly a shorter lifespan than the Neon Tetra, so 4 years versus 7 years, or it's going to be around that range. pH-wise, you want to keep them in a lot softer water. You want to keep them really around the 6 pH, which a lot of people actually find hard to maintain, especially if you have naturally occurring hard water. But even if you don't, it's kind of hard to get a pH that low. Temperature-wise, 23 to 27 Celsius, 73 to 81 degrees Fahrenheit. So I think they're a much better looking version of the Neon Tetra. However, downsides are that they have a shorter lifespan, and also they're going to run you up a bit of a more hefty bill. Typically, they're around double the price, I find, in my area. So yeah, a bit larger, a bit more red, but also they come at a cost. Next option, green neon tetras, Parachirodon simulans, sometimes called the blue or false neon tetra. This fish is similar to the neon tetra, however, you're not going to find the red underbelly on these guys, but the blue and green areas of the upper body are significantly more pronounced than the blue on the neon tetra. This is a smaller fish than the Neon Tetra, maximum size of about 3.5 centimeters or 1.4 inches, and they have a slimmer profile as well. pH-wise, 6.5 to 7 will do them fine, and they actually prefer a bit of a cooler temperature, 22 to 26 or 72 to 78. But yeah, I was pretty stoked to find some of these in a recent mystery box, and I've really enjoyed watching them. It's kind of funny to put them in with neon tetras because they kind of look like little babies, but you and I know that they're actually green neon tetras. All right, next one on the list is the bloodfin tetra. They are another peaceful community fish, easy to care for. pH range 6 to 7 will be fine. These are a much longer lived fish as well, 5 to 8 years. In terms of size, they're on that sort of cardinal tetra size, around the 5.5 centimeters or 2.2 inch length. Temperature wise, 64 to 82 Fahrenheit. Super huge range of temperature here, so 17 Celsius to 27 Celsius would be just fine. In terms of looks, they tend to have sort of a metallic platinum body and blood red fins, hence the name. So yeah, all of the fins are generally a nice deep red color, which is really good to see. So another good option is the bloodfin tetra. Next one on the list is much loved rummy nose tetra, the Hemigrammus rhodostomus. Size of the fish is 1.8 inches or 4.5 centimeters. Temperature wise, 22 to 27 Celsius, 72 to 82 Fahrenheit. They're a bit longer lived as well, 6 years, 5 to 6 years generally. Things that maybe you don't know or I'm potentially not aware of. There's actually 3 fish that are commonly misdiagnosed as rummy nose tetras and sold as such. So there's the firehead tetra, the banded rummy nose, and the false rummy nose tetra. So in terms of scientific names, you got the Hemigrammus rhodostomus, Hemigrammus Hemigrammus blaheri, and the Petelia georgiae. So you can see on screen here that there are some slight differences, but for podcast listeners, the blaheri has a bit of a longer red stripe on the front of the head. The Georgiae has a longer black line at the rear of the body, but they're pretty much all commonly sold as rummy nose. But because of the superior color, the brilliant rummy nose tetra, Hemigrammus blaheri, is the primary species that you'll find in a pet store. So maybe a fun game after the stream is you can go and check which one you've got. But yeah, they've been selectively bred to produce a golden variation as well, which is sometimes available. Next one on the list is the Emperor Tetra or Kerai Tetra. I was lucky enough to recently pick some of these up as well. Common names: Emperor Tetra, Imperial, Rainbow Tetra, or the Rainbow Tetra. Scientific name: Nematobricon palmeri. Adult size 5 centimeters, 2 inches. Life expectancy 6 years. pH wise, super wide variety here, 5 to 8, so pretty much anything. Temperature wise, 23 to 27 Celsius, 73 to 81 Fahrenheit. And there's a lot of different options for these. So the basic Emperor Tetra that you'll find have sort of a black stripe all the way through the body and then yellow on the fins. There is also a purple sheen as well to the body. Then you can get blue Kerai Tetras, which have a blue sheen through the body, and you can also get black Kerai Tetras, which the whole body is black. But yes, more of a stocky sort of a tetra, and a good option, I think. You can also readily breed these in captivity. Next. Next one's a cool fish, Ember Tetra. These are a more short-lived fish, 2 to 4 years. Water temperature, 23 to 29 Celsius, 73 to 84 Fahrenheit. pH 6 to 7 will do them just fine. The Ember Tetra are almost entirely orange to red, and the brightness holds true wherever it is on the body. Dorsal fins are tall and thin, with a gradient that fades from their primary color to a slightly darker tone. And the caudal fins are forked and have more drastic color transition than dorsal fins. The average Ember Tetra is just under 1 inch in length, 2.5 centimeters. So they are really tiny. So if you are going to put them in with anything else, consider the mouth size of their tank mates because they will be readily consumed. But a nice little active mid-dweller that can add a lot of color into your tank as well. Next one's on the list. We've talked about at length before, but I had to include them because I've got news for them. Celestial Pearl Danio, the Celestichthes margaritatus. Temperature-wise, 20 to 26 Celsius, 68 to 78 Fahrenheit. pH 6.5 to 7.5. They will be all good. Lifespan 3 to 5 years. Size up to 1 inch, about 2.5 centimeters. So on the smaller side again. In terms of looks, they have a sort of deep blue body with yellow to white spots along that body and red to orange fins, depending on the sexual dimorphism. Really fun fish and easily bred. They're really new into the hobby. They only discovered about 12 years ago, something like that. So, yeah, they are pretty expensive at the moment because they are such a new fish. There's not too many of them out there. So some places in Australia you can expect to pay over $10 each. So prepare your wallet if you do want to fill up a tank with a lot of these. But that's the Celestial Pearl Danio. And alrighty, speaking of that, let's say that you like Celestial Pearl Danios, but you don't necessarily like spotted fish. Well, you could go ahead and choose the Emerald Rasbora, another favorite of mine. They're going to be into the same sort of water conditions, and they have a similar lifespan. So these are the Celestichthes erythromicron. They're also going to live about 3 to 5 years and grow up to 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters. Temperature-wise, 20 to 26 again, and 6.5 to 7.5 pH. So these guys, the main differentiating feature between them and the Celestial Pearl Danio is that the Emerald Rasbora have a deep blue body and stripes, vertical stripes like a zebra, and they'll also have red and orange fins. So another alternative, however, once again, they're really newly discovered into the hobby, and these will run up a fairly high cost as well. There's parts of Australia where these can cost $19 each, which I think actually I paid, but good news on that front as well is I've got those raising up in a breeder box as well. So hopefully we can make some more of those and recoup my costs a little bit. But once again, really easy to breed and fun little project. Chili Rasboras, also known as the Boraras brigitae, also known as Mosquito Rasbora. They are one of the smallest fish in the hobby. Chili Rasboras have a deep red body and a dark stripe along the side. An intense red stripe sits above the dark stripe and creates a really nice contrast. If you look close enough, you'll see dark spots at the base of the tail fin and anal fin, and male Chili Rasboras have red highlights on the dorsal and anal fins. So these guys grow just to 18 millimeters in length, 0.7 inches. In terms of water conditions, 22 to 28 Celsius or 74 to 82 Fahrenheit, 6 to 7 pH will do just well. So super colorful fish, bright red, tiny color, so you can put heaps of them in there. But once again, very small fish, so consider the mouth size of tank mates so that you don't have some predation going on. The next one on the list is the Harlequin Rasbora. So common name is red Rasbora. Scientific name is Trigonostigma heteromorpha. Adult size 4.5 centimeters which is 1.75 inches. Life expectancy 6 years. pH wise 6 to 7.5 is fine, and temperature wise 23 to 28 Celsius or 73 to 82 Fahrenheit. Another good fun one, they've got like a very deep coppery tone to them and a black stripe halfway along the body as well. So they can add a nice deep orange color to your planter tank as well. And they do get around about the same size as a Neon Tetra, so potentially a good option. All right, next one on the list is the Daisy's rice fish, Oryzius warrae. Try saying that 10 times fast. They are not a Japanese rice fish. They are from Southeast Sulawesi in Indonesia. 2.5 to 3 centimeters long, 1 to 1.2 inches. They are more of a top-dwelling fish, but I've included them because they have red/orange fins and a blue body similar to the coloration of the Neon Tetra. So in terms of, a close-looking companion around about the same size, Daisy's rice fish may be an option. But yes, you definitely need a lid on because they're certainly a top-dweller fish. And pH-wise, 6 to 7.5 is fine. And temperature, 23 to 27 Celsius, 74 to 80. So good little range there. Also, they do one cool thing, which is the females carry the eggs externally underneath them. So their fins, they'll create a bit of a basket, carry the eggs externally and just deposit them on plants as they swim past. So Daisy's rice fish are another interesting option. The spotted blue eyes, Pseudomogil gertrudae, they grow up to 4 centimeters. They're a super active option as an alternative. Temperature-wise, 21 to 28 Celsius, 70 to 82 Fahrenheit, and pH in the similar ballpark, 6.5 to 7. They have a neon blue body and exquisite finish with spots along it, hence the name spotted blue eyes. But it's a very active option. Peaceful once again. Males will spar with each other, but they never really do any damage. It's mainly just to show off. And another great sort of 4 centimeter / just shy of 2 inch option that you might want to consider. I think they're pretty hard to come by in the United States, though, although in Australia they're obviously a lot easier to come by. But yes, another great alternative to Neon Tetras. Pseudomogil furcatus. Forktail blue eyes are next on the list. They do get a little bit larger than Neon Tetras in the 4 centimeters to 6 centimeter range, 1 3/4 to 2 1/4 inches long. pH wise, they're more of a hard water pseudomagil, so 7 to 8 pH. Temperature wise, 24 to 28 Celsius will be fine. And they, in terms of looks, they've got these bright yellow fins, bright blue eye, obviously being a pseudomagil, and the front fins they hold up high in the sky like little pom-poms, so they'll be a little yellow finned cheerleader in your community tank. Very peaceful once again, so there's no issues with there's no issues with aggression or anything like that. And just make sure that you're not putting them in things that are going to nip the fins of these forktail blue eyes. Next one, if you want an alternative to the Neon Tetra that can be easily bred, I would recommend the Endless Livebearer. Conditions-wise, they're really accepting of pretty much any water conditions, 5.5 to 8 pH. They'll be just fine. Temperature-wise, 18 to 29 Celsius, 66 to 84 Fahrenheit. So pretty much whatever your conditions are, they'll accept it. Maximum size, 4.5 centimeters, 1.8 inches. That'd be a female. Males get considerably smaller than that. Hashtag Project Persilia. This is the Persilia wingae. And this one particular, I should say that Endless Livebearers come in a variety of colors. Pretty much take your choice of whatever you like. But with the theme of Neon Tetras in mind, I've chosen these Japanese Blue Star Endless, I believe they're called. But you can really get whatever choice you like. Most of the time they'll have neon spots at least, or you can get sort of half body of neon or whatever you like, really. So they'll be active. Also, they're a live bearer, so very, very easy to breed. But once again, just make sure that whatever you put them with is not going to predate on them, and you'll be just fine. And you can easily get a line of endless that will resemble Neon Tetras, or at least have a similar amount of color and activity within the tank. Next one on the list, the dwarf neon rainbowfish, Melanitania praecox. They're going to be a lot larger in terms of comparison to the Neon Tetra. They get up to 8 centimeters, 3.2 inches, but also they are quite a tall fish, so they got that thick body. So they're not really great for small aquariums. But if you were going to do a big school of neons, in an angelfish aquarium, something like that, the dwarf neon rainbowfish might actually be a better option, because when the angelfish are at full size, they're not likely to actually go ahead and eat the neon these rainbowfish, as opposed to the Neon Tetras, which can sometimes surprise people. Temperature-wise, 23 to 28 Celsius or 73 to 82 Fahrenheit. And they do enjoy a bit of a harder pH, but 6.8 to 7.5 will be just fine. Really active fish. They'll be swimming constantly all day. The males have, a neon blue body and red finnage, and the females have a neon blue body, but maybe a little bit more subdued, and yellow fins. So no matter which you get, it's going to be a lot of color. And I would recommend putting at least one female in, so that the males show off and, make themselves look pretty. So dwarf neon rainbowfish are a great alternative if you are looking at more of a larger tank doing a school. All right, next one on the list is the classic, also known as the poor man's Neon Tetra, the white cloud mountain minnow. Other common names are the Canton danio, Chinese danio, white cloud mountain fish, and white cloud mountain minnow. Scientific name is Ptenichthyes mikageme. Adult size 1.5 inches. Life expectancy 3 to 5 years. They can go down cold water, so 15 Celsius, 60 Fahrenheit. Accepting of a wide range of pH as well, 6 to 8 will be fine. On screen here, I've got the longfin variety. So what we're looking at here for podcast listeners, this is a Neon Tetra if there was no blue coloration in the body and it was exchanged with the white luminescent stripe along the body. extended fins from selective breeding, and the fins usually exhibit red or yellow coloration. But yeah, it's a very nice metallic sort of sheen to the body, and you'll get some really nice reds and yellows coming through with good conditioning. So there are gold and white cloud varieties, which, as the name would suggest, they have a gold body color, but conventional white clouds have a striking white stripe along the body and maybe some red tones through the fins, especially during breeding. But yeah, it's a very hardy option, and I think they're making a real resurgence back into the hobby. So yeah, pretty happy to recommend white cloud mounted minnows. And then depending on what else you decide to put in the tank, you may even not need a heater, so long as you keep the tank inside or something like that. And that's it for the recommendations. I do just want to suggest against a alternative. I did just want to make a note that whilst there are a lot of alternatives to Neon Tetras in both the Rasbora, Tetra, and many other fish families, I would recommend against substituting Tetras with barbs, in particular tiger barbs and other barbs, and also other barbs such as rosy barbs, Odessa barbs, golden barbs, and all that. Also, I would recommend against certain Danios because these fish can get quite nippy, and especially tiger barbs can get really aggressive. I wouldn't keep them with any other fish personally. So just be careful that if you are substituting with Neon Tetra, certainly as a first point of call, highlight that you want something that's going to be peaceful. And I think any of these options that we've run through are pretty much never going to run into any aggression issues. But a lot of beginners into the hobby substitute with tiger barbs. You can see why. They're a nice sort of, once again, they're more of a thick looking fish. They're really stunning. They obviously have tiger stripes, hence the tiger barb name. They've got orange fins, but I think they're really great looking, but just, yeah, maybe steer clear of putting them in your tank with, your whatever else you're running. What else do people generally get? Certainly don't put them with your goldfish or anything with long fins, but yeah, just steer clear of barbs as a general rule for a community tank. All right, so that's all for my topic of alternatives to the Neon Tetra. Hope you had fun. Hope you enjoyed. If you are interested in any other platforms, these are available as a podcast and also as a shortened version of the live stream, available on the channel or via Podbean. The channel being www.youtube.com/BlakesAquatics. Other than that, I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.